Hi, my name is Rybka Pouch, and welcome to episode 9 of the CoCreated Podcast. Hi, like I said, my name is Rybka Pouch. I'm a maker based out of Memphis, Tennessee. I live here with my husband, my 1-year-old son, and our rescue pup Pippin, who is also here on the couch with me. So if you hear any noises or if she gets in the window and starts barking, it's just the nature of having a dog. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. This might be, I think if you watched my last podcast, I feel like it was record short, but this one might be a little longer, because I have, first of all, it's been almost 2 months since I podcasted. It is, it's MLK Day, so it's January 20th. Yeah, so it's been 2 months. So I have, and so of course we've had like Christmas and stuff in between then and now, so I have a couple of gift knits that I've worked on, but I have seven finished objects. I only have 3 whips. I was thinking about talking about my Make 9, but we'll see how long this gets, and then maybe, I don't know, I might tack it on at the end, we'll see. But yeah, we can just go ahead and jump into it. So like I said, I have 7 finished objects. I don't have all of them with me, but I did, oh no, did I throw it in here? Want to talk about, well, there they are. So this is actually one of my most recent finished objects, but it also goes along with one of my I guess older finished objects. So I've made, I finished 2 pairs of socks. So 1 pair I don't have with me because they were a gift from my mom. I will insert a picture of them. They were made out of Knit Picks Felicini. It's a self-striping sock yarn. If I can find my notes on it, I have notes, like I started just taking notes in this little notebook, and so I'm trying to make sure I have everything written down. Yeah, Felicini, Fletchy. Anyways, it's a self-striping yarn. I'll insert a picture of them. So I made a pair for my mom, and then I also made a pair for my toddler. So these are just some little tiny socks. Aren't they the most precious? Like, look how small they are. Yeah, I just love it. So the stripes look really good, honestly. So I think Knit Picks re-released this yarn. I bought this on sale like months ago with the intention of making a pair for my mom, and you can see in the photo for the adult size socks, the stripes are like less than 2 rows per stripe. So these, you get 3 rows, and the tiny foot size, you get like 3 rows per stripe. Sorry, the camera's kind of far away from me today, but I like the background, so I'm just going with it. Anyway, so yeah, you get like 3 rows per stripe. I like the colors are really fun. They're so cute. Oh my goodness, this little tiny heel flapping gusset, like, stop. So I am kind of at the point now, unless I will reference some patterns when it comes to doing like the heel turn, but for the most part, I'm just kind of casting on stitches. I referenced the Rye Socks by Tin Can Knits for the how many stitches I should cast on for these, and then I just kind of knit them until I thought they were long enough. They're a little long on him, but I think it's fine because he's also not really walking, so he's not really, I don't know, that has anything to do with him wearing socks, but so those are my finished socks. They were a joy to make. I don't know if there's anything else I wanted to mention. I think the color's really fun. I've seen the new colors that Knit Picks has put out. The only thing I would say about this yarn is that it's really splitty. it makes for a very nice soft sock, very warm sock, but I got a little frustrated with like how much the yarn would split while knitting it. And like I'm using typically like size 1 Xiaogu needles, which I know have like more of a point on them, but like that's why I like using them. And so it was pretty frustrating for them to kind of split, for the yarn to split so much. So, and with that, I'll talk about my next finished object, which is also made out of a Knit Picks yarn. This is also not blocked. I'm gonna block it later today, but I just figured I'm gonna film first and block things. So this is a Musselburgh hat that I made for my husband. So this is made out of Knit Picks Hawthorn, and I'll go ahead and show you the whole like Musselburgh things. This is by a pattern by Isolde Teague. I'm also pronouncing it the way Knitting Natty pronounces it, Musselburgh hat, yeah. And she's like, you know, our Musselburgh hat like sensei, so I'm trusting that that's how it's, I've heard it a bunch of different ways, so I'm just trusting that that's the correct way. Anyway, this is made out of Knit Picks Hawthorn. Something else about this is that this had a little less yardage than a typical sock yarn would. And so I did knit until I had like 50 grams left, and then I knitted until I think it took me like less than 10 to do a crown, and then I just knit until I had that same amount left, or a little bit more, and then but I still had a good bit of yarn left over. I was trying to use as much yarn as possible, but anyways, I also based this off of some measurements from a hat that he really likes to wear. So it's kind of like so he can like fold it up once and do the little like skull cap kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'm gonna block it so that the decreases kind of even out. Is there decreases? And are those increases? I don't know. So all the increasing and decreasing evens out. But this, I actually can tell you how long my mom's socks took me, like 19 days to make. I actually forgot to write down how long it took me to do my son's socks, but for the Musselburgh hat, it took me 17 days to do that. I made them on 2.75 millimeter needles. Made the adult large. My gauge, okay, and here's the thing about the Musselburgh is you like cast on and then you like knit a little bit, measure your gauge once you have like an inch of fabric. My gauge started out at 7 stitches per inch, but when I measured this later, I had closer to like 6.5 stitches per inch. So because like my gauge got a lot looser as I went from like, because you're knitting this tiny circumference and it's kind of tight and fiddly with DP ends, and then once you get to knitting in the round, my gauge, I just kind of relaxed and my gauge loosened up. But yeah, I do like the pattern. I really enjoyed knitting this. I will knit it again. I will knit another one. I think it's a great, it would be a great gift knit just because it's the double layer. I think that adds a lot of, but it's like not too thin. It doesn't look too handmade. But this is a lot rounder of a yarn, like sock yarn. And I don't know, I just like, this is Knit Picks Hawthorn. I definitely would prefer, I've never used their Stroll base. I've heard really good things about Stroll. So I've used Hawthorn and the Felici one. So I do prefer Hawthorn. They offer, I think, different things. This obviously is more of a variegated micro striping thing, whereas the Felici is like an actual self-striping yarn. So, but yeah, that's my Musselburgh hat. Not much to say. I think he was pleasantly pleased with it for part of his Christmas present. But yeah, I was very pleased to have it done. Okay, because I think I cast it off on Christmas Eve. Yeah, so that's really fun. We'll get into, and these also aren't in like chronological order, obviously. I'm just kind of going through them as I feel fit. I'm trying to decide which one to talk about next, because again, there's so many. We'll talk about, and you'll see that I think I have so many finished objects because a lot of them are kind of small, and I've really enjoyed some like small wins, small projects, portable projects. Yeah, that's been kind of my vibe lately. So let me actually let me flip to my page about this. So this is and we pull up the designer's name. This is the Rybka Pouch. It's amazing. Like, look at her. I really need to do a finished object photo of me like holding it like the guys on Tinder with their fish. Yeah. I really enjoyed knitting this. I really enjoyed this yarn too. This yarn is Record. I'm sure if someone told me how to pronounce this, I'd be like, no, that makes so much sense. It's the Spin DK, and it's 100% cotton DK weight yarn. And so it's this lovely little fade. It goes from this like really dark blue into this like medium blue, and then it ends in this light blue. So I just pulled this from the other end of the little cake it comes in. It comes in like a little 50-gram cake. It's so precious. I modified this heavily. So this pattern typically calls for a fingering weight and mohair. So I used a DK weight cotton. And it is also knit flat in 2 pieces and seamed. Oh, I need to add an eye to it. So yeah, it's knit flat and seamed or like crocheted together on the sides. So I modified mine to be done in the round because I just didn't want to deal with seaming or 2 pieces, and I knew because this was a fading yarn, I didn't want to do one piece and it looked different than the other piece. So yeah, so I went ahead and just did it in the round. So I just cast on the top part. I cast on flat so I can make this little casing for the drawstring, and then joined in the round, and then knit stockinette, and I like knit the casing down, attached it like while it was on the needles. Oh, also this is by Rattan Sea Witch on Instagram, or Zofia Ratta Sea Witch. I can link all the designer information, the Ravelry page down below with more information. I'm also just butchering names. I'm so sorry. So yeah, I also cast on, I think like an extra like 10 or 20 stitches. So mine's much bigger than what it traditionally calls for, but I can fit my phone in here. I can fit, and the stitch markers, because I dropped a stitch. So I need to pull that into the inside and fix it. I was almost to the tail when I realized it. Yeah, I just couldn't be bothered. Yeah, so I cast on like 46 stitches, knit in the round. I still did the same. I decreased the same amount for the bottom of the tail, and I increased to like 52 stitches. So I did a few more when I was increasing back to the tail. I increased 2 more stitches at the very end, and then I did a little 3-needle bind off at the very end. Anyways, this was just a lovely little, again, quick project. It took me 24 hours to make. So it was just like one of those, we were snowed in. It snowed here, and we just weren't planning on leaving our house because, I don't know if you know much about the South, or specifically Memphis, but people just don't know how to drive in the snow. So we stock up on what we need and we don't leave. And so we were just watching movies, and I was knitting, and yeah, made a lovely little fish. Would not to recommend this pattern. It's by a smaller designer, and it's just a really fun, really quick knit, obviously. And so again, if you have some like scraps, and I think let me look at I actually don't remember how much yarn. I think I ended up using like 30 grams of my cotton yarn, which is obviously a heavier fiber, but the pattern calls for 8 grams of the sock yarn for the small size, 8 grams, and 5 grams of mohair, or for the bigger, like longer size, 10 grams of sock yarn and 7 grams of mohair. So like, it doesn't take a lot of yarn at all. Like, so if you have like a handful of scraps, there you go. And you could probably even just size down on your needles and make it with just the sock yarn if you want. So that's another little project. This is veering away from the fiber art, but for Christmas, my husband got me a cross stitch kit by Junebug and Darling, and this is what it is. So it's these little like buttercups, and it's just it was just perfect. And it's like so small. I really enjoyed making this. I had been knitting on like my husband's muscle burrow hat, those socks for my mom, just like I just been knitting a lot, and I was like, I just kind of need a break, and I was gonna pull out some embroidery, and then I opened this in my Christmas present and was like, perfect. So I immediately got started on it. I enjoyed this so much. I think I did it in like 3 days, and yeah, I would 10 out of 10 recommend Junebug and Darling as because the kits come with everything you need. It has like the pattern printed out and everything, and so you're just kind of like following along and counting. But yeah, I just really love how this turned out. I need to add something to the back to like hang it, because I think typically you would make something and hang it from the little doodad here, but because the orientation is different, I need to add a hanging piece to it. But yeah, I'm very happy with this, and it was just a nice little, like, I don't know if anyone else can relate, but it was just a nice like change of pace. I want to get another kit. I told my husband, I said everyone's getting cross stitch stuff for Christmas this next year, because I just enjoyed this so much. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start another embroidery project for a friend who's having a baby. But I'll take a picture. I don't know if I'm gonna do in the initials or if I'm gonna write the whole name just yet, but that's kind of my my thoughts right now for the next like needlepoint embroidery floss kind of project. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. So that was just a fun, I don't know, sometimes you just need a break from your normal things, right? I'm actually gonna pull up the pattern for this next one so I have all the information correct. This next one, if you follow me on Instagram, you've definitely seen it, but this is also not blocked. Notice the theme here. This is the Scout Scarf by Rose Knitwear. Also, if anyone else has only heard Rose pronounced, I always thought Rose Knitwear was R-O-S-E. It's R-O-W-S, like rose, like the rose in your knitwear. Anyways. So yeah, this is my Scout Scarf. Look at her. I just am obsessed. I'll hold it up a little bit closer so you can see in more detail just the beauty that is the scarf. Sorry, it's like blowing out just a little bit, but I think you kind of get the gist. Gosh, it's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I also really enjoyed this project. So let me see if I have the ball band so I can tell you about the yarn. Yes, this is Noro Silk Garden, right? Yes, Noro Silk Garden in the color 211 Ozake. Yeah, so if I've never worked with Noro before now, But the one thing I know about Noro is that they're like, it's considered, it says a number 4, so like I guess this would be considered like an Aran or worsted weight. And so, but it's just very thick and thin. Like I say the thinnest pieces were probably close to like a fingering weight, and then the thicker pieces were probably close to like a bulky weight. So I think it kind of evens out. And so I wanted to make a, like some sort of, well, because of the makeup of this yarn too, it is 45% silk, 45% mohair, and 10% wool. So it's a pretty warm, like drapey piece. And it's also knit, like you start at this end and then you're knitting back and forth in this really cool pattern. So like it looks like this way when you're knitting it. I don't think that's like a good, but then when you turn it this way, it honestly just looks like a really big garter stitch. Like that's what it reminds me of, it's just garter bumps. And then the back looks like a rib pattern. So I would really recommend this pattern. I really like that. There's obviously this stitch pattern isn't super common or something I think you would know off the top of your head, but Rose does a really good job of putting in like images to show you like how they knit the specific stitch. I don't remember what it's called. It's like a left leaning slip stitch, left twist slip stitch, something like that. You'll have to buy the pattern to find out. It's a paper pattern. This calls for 5mm needles. I size up to 5.5mm needles, and I don't remember how long this took me to make because I just loved it. I cast on. It took me about like 2 weeks. A little over 2 weeks to make this, and again, haven't blocked it, so just things like that. But and I used 3 balls. So my husband got me 1 ball of Noro Silk Garden, and I was like, this is so much fun. So I started knitting this, and I was like, I'll just see how I like it, or like how it feels and how it knits up, and then I'll decide if I want to buy more yarn. Well, I left it obviously, and so then I went and bought 2 more balls, because you need to, and that should have been enough, and it could have been, but I think because of the irregularity of Noro, I got to my 2nd ball, and so I decided so I knit the first one all the way through, started knitting the 2nd one, knew that once that had been halfway used up, I would start the decreases, and I think it should have been enough, but again, just like the inconsistent size of the yarn lends itself to not being as predictable, but it worked out. So I finished, if you can see, this corner is a different color. I used some Lamb's Pride worsted, and it's also like a wool and mohair blend, so it's a little bit of a different makeup, but similar. And it also was a single ply, and it had that thick and thinness that I was looking for to help even it out. So it's honestly like, but like holding it up on camera, like I don't think anyone would really notice that it's a different color, honestly. But I've like sat here with it just like draped on my shoulders. It keeps me so warm. I might just keep it on because it was 16 degrees outside. Right now it's 19, which again is very cold for Memphis. But yeah, it's just such a cool piece and a warm piece, and I love a good like scarf. I don't know how to style it. This is also very colorful for my vibe, but you know, I saw something on, I think it's in the Pressed Flowers kerchief, where you make this like just a little ring, like crochet or something, and then you can just like hold your scarves with it. So I might make that and add it to it. But anyways, just obsessed. Love the experience of knitting with this yarn. So glad I tried Noro. I understand the hype. it's such a beautiful, beautiful yarn. It's so squishy, and yeah, I'm very happy with this piece. And again, I think this calls for a DK, weight, and mohair. So I feel like this was about, like, did I get gauge? I don't really know. It's a scarf. So, but I had a great time making it. So that's my Scout Scarf by Rose Knitwear. Okay. Hello. This is Darby from the future. And by the future, I mean it's been like a couple hours. But I was looking through some of I was importing the videos onto my computer. Anyways, in that I noticed I had completely forgotten, because it's been, again, so long since I've like really podcasted. Sorry, I'm trying to like the same background, just like a different time of day. It's been so long since I podcasted, I completely like forgot about the holidays. We've had some stuff and some family stuff happen in between now and then. Also, you'll hear about her later in the video, but here's the pooch. Here's the gorgeous girl. Amazing. Anyways, so lots happened, forgot about it, but I have 3 more finished objects to talk about. One, I'll try and, I think I took a picture of like the labels I made, but we gave our vanilla extract as Christmas gifts, and they were really well received and people loved it, and it was really fun. We made our vanilla extract with bourbon, and so we gave it to like some couples that we are really close with, and like both of them really appreciated it for different reasons, and we've heard great reviews about it. So 10 out of 10 recommend. You literally could make it now and like let it sit for a year. Like you can let it sit for a long time. Like it just keeps, and we left the vanilla beans in there just to keep kind of aging and to keep kind of getting the flavor, but it's been just a delightful gift to give. So that was one. The second finished object, which I don't know where I put the other one, but I made these to go with the vanilla extract. I made these Norwegian stars, and they give, like, I made them into Christmas ornaments, made them out of some scrap fabric. They're very quilt star-esque, which I know is just which is just like really my vibe at the moment, just like kind of scrappy. And again, also very well received. And they're no sew, like the only thing I sewed was sewing a thread, a string onto the top to make it into an ornament so you could hang it on your tree. But it was really fun to kind of decide on colors, like for my friends, like based on their personal style and their like home aesthetic and stuff. So yeah, that was really fun. And then in the midst of like also scrap fabric, I mentioned that my son turned 1 in December, and for his first birthday we did like a party, and it was it was really fun, really cute. And for his birthday I really wanted to make, again, this is like a Pinterest pin that has been living in my brain. I've pinned like a million versions of this, but it's a happy birthday banner, and I wanted to make something that could be used again and again and again, and was also fitting for like whatever sort of theme or party we do. And so it's now our birthday banner, our family birthday banner. So we used it for his birthday at his party, and I had it up in the house for his like actual birthday, and I'm excited to pull it out for my birthday in May. Yeah, it's just like it was a really fun make. It wasn't anything super challenging. I'll link the pin that I used, or like the pattern. I didn't print anything out. I just took some measurements from this pattern piece and then added seam allowance and then interfaced everything, sewed it together inside out, flipped them, ironed them, cut out. I just got some felt on Amazon, but you could use like a another white fabric and sew that down. But I sewed the felt down and then used some bias tape along the top to seal everything off. Yeah, and it's great, and it was a really fun make. I shared it on my Instagram. Yeah, it was just, I'm so proud of it. It's something I'm going to use again and again and again, and it's also just like adorable, and I used up a lot of scrap fabric in the process of making both of these things. So those are my other 3 finished objects. I will let Whip Darby take over now. Okay. Last finished object. It's a big one, but it's also, I think, I have a lot to say about it. I'm actually going to pause the video here so it's broken up into a few different parts. Okay, last finished object. It's a big one. It's one that we all been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it to be done, and it's a little disappointing. And I have a lot to say about it. So bear with me as we go through this. So I'll just go ahead and pull it out and show you. This is my yun sweater, unsweater. Again, not blocked. And it's all in black yarn, so it's just, blowing out so poorly, so badly. I have a lot to say about it. I really enjoyed knitting this sweater. This is by November Knits. It's a lovely pattern. She just came out with the yun sweater light, which I also think is a really cute look. Nothing wrong with this pattern. Nothing at all. I think I had a vision, and I just don't think I don't know if it's the yarn or how long this ended up being, or what size I knit, or just like the gauge. I'm not entirely sure. I am really glad that I made this, and I'm really glad that I finished it. I did finish it. Let me actually go back and look. I don't remember when I cast this on, but I did cast it. I cast this on sometime in January, so right around a year ago. It was, because I remember knitting on this during a snowstorm last January. I remember knitting on it, so I knew I had it cast on in January of 2024, and I cast this off on Christmas Eve of 2024, so December 24th. So it took me like basically an entire year to make this, on and off. Like, I got stuck on a couple of different pieces, and I don't know, there was a lot that went into the sweater. I guess we start with that. So I bought this pattern in spring of 2023. I remember November Knits was having a sale, and so I bought a couple patterns, and this one was really interesting, and so I was like, yeah, sure, I would love to have this in my library. Without any plan of yarn or saw it or anything, and then I got one of these yarns in a craft swap, and I knew it was a sweater quantity, so I knew I wanted to make, I knew I could make a sweater with it. So, but I didn't have a sweater in mind. I just knew it was kind of one of those, I have this yarn, I have this pattern, I want to make something with this yarn. What patterns do I have? Let me cast it on and make it. Well, from when I bought the pattern, at that point in time in spring of 2023, I there's a lot of layers to this. Me and my husband had done Whole30. We had really kind of just cleaned up how we were eating, and I was working out really consistently, and I had lost a little bit of weight, and my body was just much smaller then. And so yeah, so so when I bought the pattern, my body looked very different. And then I got this yarn, not sure what I was gonna do with it. And then I found out I was pregnant, kind of went through some different like feelings about making and my body changing and things just like looking different. And I really didn't, I was actually talking to a friend about this, about like when I really started like showing or like popping. It was like going to my 3rd trimester is when I really like, from September, so my baby was born in December of 2023, and I was still wearing like not pregnant clothes and most of my like old clothes up until like September or October of 2023, and then it was like those final few months, like I got much bigger. So I remember casting this on. I swatched for this in like September of 2023, and I got gauge, and I was really excited about it. And at that time, the split hem idea I thought was really cute for pregnant me. And I was like, well, I'll be pregnant in December, at least for a little bit, and then, you know, like it'll be cold and stuff. Like I think the split hem will look really cute on my pregnant body. And I still like kind of hold to that. Like I think that would have been a really cute vibe. But I didn't get this, like I obviously didn't cast this on until after I had my baby. And so like even like that vision just wasn't panning out the way I had thought. And so I've been knitting on this, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, no, I think it'll still be really cute with the split hem. But I'm just like also, you know, looking back to where I was almost 2 years ago, like my body's very different. This fits, yes, but I just don't like the way it fits. I don't like the way it hangs. I also knit, my vision was like the really long split hem situation, right? Well, because of the content of this yarn, it's just kind of it's a heavy knit. And so it causes this part, if I can show you, like the stockinette part, the weight of the ribbing just causes it to kind of have like a U shape almost instead of a straight line. And I think there might have been stuff I could have done to like mitigate that. I could have done something different. I don't know. I think just what I'm ultimately getting at is that I think this sweater, again, great pattern. I really enjoyed the pattern. I really enjoyed reading the pattern. I really enjoyed making this. I think it's a lovely pattern. Nothing against, I'm just trying to be abundantly clear, nothing against the pattern or the pattern designer. It's just, I'm like, the idea of this sweater was a great idea for me 2 years ago, but now finishing it like basically 2 years after like the conception or the idea of the sweater, it's just not, it doesn't really match what I wear. It doesn't really match my, I don't want to say lifestyle, but like, yeah, it's just not something I think I'm going to really get a lot of wear out of in this season of my life. And maybe that was like, maybe I would have at a different season, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. All that to be said, so I'm not super happy with this. And like looking in stuff that I wear, I don't know that I like the raglan seams on me, or like the way this raglan is like spaced out. Because it's like really wide raglan seams, which I think will look great, and again, really fun to knit. I just don't know, not that you can see anything because this is a black sweater. Yeah, I just don't know. I just am not super happy with it. Maybe I made it too big. Maybe you don't need to make a raglan so oversized. Maybe that, because like, you know, the arm seam comes down here if you want the body to go out to here, so it kind of has to meet. And so you have like these really big sleeves, and then everything kind of, I don't know. There's just like a lot. But anyways, just kind of normalizing, like, this idea I think was great. Again, I really enjoyed the process of it, but I think ultimately I'm just gonna unravel this whole thing. And I also feel okay about it because just been thinking about like what I wear more and what I would really think, what I think I would get more wear out of what can I make that I would get more wear out of, and I think a drop shoulder, like that's just what I wear. Excuse me. I have this like quarter zip that I love and that I wear all the time, and it's a drop shoulder. Like that's what this shirt is a drop shoulder. And I think it's just a better fit. I have more control over like how big the arms are versus how big the body is. I think it's just a more cozy, comfortable fit. So I think I'm gonna make, what is that sweater called? It's by the Knit Pro Girl. It has like these cool like zigzags on the shoulders, and I don't know, it's just like the tendril sweater. Again, it's a pattern I have. It's a similar gauge. It's a pattern I have in my library. It's a drop shoulder. I just think I'll get more wear out of it. So again, the layers and just like the difference in like who I was when I first thought about the sweater versus who I am now, and where I am now with my style and what I wear, and just like I want to wear handmade pieces, but I also just want them to be very practical, not take a whole lot of effort to style, because time is precious, and I kind of just want something I can really throw on, and I want something I can also just kind of throw on. Like this isn't something I can just kind of throw on and lounge around the house, but this fabric almost lends itself to being like a sweatshirt. So I think that's my direction. So I've spent 10 minutes talking about this sweater to say she's done. We've all been waiting for it. She's done. But you will see this yarn again, I'm sure, in the future. So right now I'm going to leave it as a sweater because I think it takes up it's taking up less space. But I'm going to do something different with this yarn. That's just kind of the long and short of it. And I'm at peace about it. And sometimes you make stuff and you don't like it, and that's okay. And honestly, that's been kind of like the norm with most of the sweaters I've made. My Ursina sweater, I made it and I gauge swatched and everything, but I needed a bigger, anyways, it ended up being really small. And I let it sit for a year, and then I frogged the whole thing and reknit it, and I love it. So that's kind of the nature of just what we're doing. Normalize, it's a slow process, and by knitting something and unraveling and reknitting it makes it even slower. But if I'm gonna enjoy the finished object like 10 times more if I do that, and that's okay. That's good. And I don't think I've made a drop shoulder sweater yet, so that's really exciting to embark on for my next sweater. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But that's just these are my thoughts. That's where I'm at. You're welcome for the very vulnerable everything about that, but it just, yeah, I hope that helps somebody. That's kind of why I wanted to share all that, is because I just hope somebody else is like, I've been thinking about unraveling this sweater that I'm not 100% happy with, and like, we can do it. It's okay. Again, this was a very much longer segment than I thought it would be, but I just kind of wanted to wrap up some loose ends on that sweater. Okay, now we're going to talk about my whips, and I only have 3 of them, so let's get talking. So this is a pair of socks, and I have lovingly, I'm referring to them as my ribbed gusset socks. So I was trying something different. I don't know where I saw this, but I was like, there's gonna be a gift, and I added some ribbing to the gusset here. I, in retrospect, should have fleshed this idea out a little bit more. I don't think the recipient of these socks is going to care, but I would like to make this a little cleaner, because I really like this idea, And I like the idea of like maybe the ribbing continuing not all the way under the foot, but like a little bit on the sides of the foot, I think would be really cool. So that's just like some thoughts I'm having on, I don't know necessarily designing, but just I think I messed up the heel turn, but that's okay. Anyway, so it's just like a 2x2 rib sock. This is in Patton's Croy. I don't remember the colorway name, but yeah, just lovely. I did continue the ribbing onto the toe, which I think looks really good. These probably should be blocked so that they kind of stretch out, but again, it's, you know, you're making socks for somebody, you want them to be fit, and so I thought a 2x2 rib would kind of conform to their foot. I think I might try, because I've seen a lot of people make the hibernal socks by Andrew Mowry, so I think I might try that, if not next, for my next gifted pair of socks. I think those would be really fun. So yep, socks. So I have the first one finished, and I am on the cuff of my second one. Again, these are 64 stitch socks, and I'm using a size 1 needle to knit them on. So socks, yay. Love sock knitting. It's been a delight. Okay, next whip is also a kind of a small portable whip, but this is my Northport beanie. This is by Woolbird, this pattern. Sorry, this is kind of tough. It is knit similarly to the Musselburgh hat, but this has a 3x1 rib. I'm knitting the adult size. There's an adult and an adult large. So this one uses like lifted increases, and there's a couple different options for the crown. In the Musselburgh, you do like a pinhole cast on, so you like pull, I think it's a pinhole cast on. You like pull a thread and it like closes everything up. But with this one, you cast on more stitches, and so you have a hole in the top, but this is the inside. So you also have like the first part of it is stockinette, and then you go into the ribbing, and then the other side of the crown is ribbing. So it's going to be knit in the tube like the Musselburgh, but it's, yeah, I'm also knitting this on 2.75mm needles, my little 16-inch Chow-Goos. Love these. I was just talking to a friend about this, like cannot justify buying a whole set of Chow-Goos at the moment because my Knit Picks needles like are still good, but I love working with my Chow-Goo needles. So maybe one day, maybe next Christmas, but again, like my other needles are still fine. I don't need to buy them, but I would love to. But this color is just like, it's giving. It makes me very happy to see this color knit up. This is, let me show you the cake actually. It's just so pretty. Like all these different like deep greens and that red. This is a local to me dyer, maybe lesser known. It's Forbidden Fiber Co. They're sold at a couple local yarn stores here. This is in their Fortitude base in the colorway. Oh, this is a great name. A deep fried Korean Thanksgiving is the colorway. And it's 100% superwash merino, 113 grams. So this is also a good bit of yarn. Like you get 4 ounces of yarn. Yeah, love it. I cast this on, if it's Monday, I cast it on Friday night. So this is a few days worth of knitting. It's fun. It's just been, again, really easy, and it's not, since it's on like a smaller circumference, it's just going. Just love it. I'm gonna try and bring it on we're going to a play date today, so we'll see if I get any knitting done. I'm gonna bring it with me. Last whip. Also, I love how my whip section is taking not even 10 minutes, and we're almost done. This is the Miss Messia pullover by Amy Christoffers of Savory Knitting. Yes, I've been working on it. I'm so excited. This is also a raglan. I think due to the lighter gauge of this, and it's, I think, going to be a little more fitted, I think I'm going to like it better. So this is also kind of scrunched up on the needles, but I got, like, this is the back. This is a sport weight yarn, so this is taken some time. But let me see if I can even show you, like, spread this out enough to show you the motif on the front. Honestly, stitch toppers would be it would be a good investment right now. But like, oh yeah, no, that's coming across very well. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna go take pictures of this probably in a minute. Yeah, this is making me really happy. It's been just a joy to knit and to follow this chart, and it's just coming up. It's coming along very well. Again, it's taking forever because it's a sport weight sweater, but gosh, I'm obsessed. I've messed up several times, but I've been learning how to like ladder down and fix some things, which has caused, I don't think, a ton of tension issues. I think I've mostly resolved them like within the next row and like straighten some things out. I think blocking will help a lot, but it's great. I'm so happy with it. And I learned that I don't, so like everything else is, I mean, as you can see, like yarn overs and decreases and stuff, but this right here, these are bobbles. Don't like them, not a fan. I'm gonna do them the way that they're written, but I don't think I'm getting as good of a payoff. Like hers just looks so much better than mine. And I don't understand why. Maybe I'll look into like some other techniques for bobbles, but I don't know, I just feel like they're just not I don't know how else to phrase it. I've heard people talk about how much they hate making bobbles and stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to like get them at least like to poke out to the front, which I think will help a lot, but I've heard people talk about how much they hate bobbles, but I've never experienced it myself, so this is my first bobble endeavor. So but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. There's a ton of stitches on here. Like, I definitely need to switch to my larger cable. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am knitting it with Knit Picks Wool the Andes in sport weight, which is 100% merino wool, on 3.5 millimeter needles. Whatever the pattern calls for, because I got gauge. 3.75. So sorry. That, gosh, making more work for myself. Either way, it's still a very small gauge and still a very time-consuming project. So it has been on my needles. This is like the second thing I put in this since October, which is totally fine. Again, this is something I'm really excited about, and it's working out very well, and I'm very happy with the way the fabric feels, and my swatch turned out really good. Yeah, I think that's everything. I might really quickly go over my Make 9. This is gonna be kind of a little longer, but we'll do that, and then we'll wrap things up in just a minute. Okay, I will, because I don't actually have yarn for any of this, but I will pop up pictures as I go through them. Again, kind of quickly. We just kind of want to go over some intentions. My goal for the year is to just, like, I've been really enjoying knitting, and I want to stay in that realm. I don't want to feel like I need to like check off boxes. And some of these are kind of vague, not vague goals, but like a little more open-ended. But I also think that they are things that I've thought about and things that have been on my mind, and I guess that's the same concept, but things that I have been thinking about for a while. And so these aren't just like really trendy stuff, but like things that I have thought about. And so it's not necessarily a Make 9 for 2025, but it is kind of like a bingo for the next, for some making in the future. So, and all these are subject to change. I'm going to cast on other stuff, but I like this plan and hope to do more. So it's kind of broken up into a few different things, but we'll start off with the first thing that I really want to make, which is the book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund. I have the pattern. I think I'm going to do a little more research on Ravelry to see if anyone else has used this yarn, but I think I'm going to use Patton's Classic Wool Worsted. It's 100% wool. It's very affordable, which is kind of what I'm looking for right now. And it's, you know, I like Patton's, but I'm gonna look and see if anyone else has used this yarn to make it, to see like if they had any gauges used and what it knit up like before I like pull the trigger on that. But I love the idea of just a good cabled cardigan, and I think these pockets look really cool, and so I really yeah, like that's something that I really want to have in my wardrobe. I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. A cardigan sounds delightful. I've done a little bit of cabling, not a ton, so this will definitely be a really long-term project, but I think it'll be well worth the effort I put in, and it just makes me smile and think about like having a really cozy cabled wool cardigan, because it's just perfect to get on and off. So next is a knit t-shirt, some sort of summer knit top. I think would be really beneficial. I've referenced on my like Instagram, I have the Farnham tee by the Knit Pro Girl. I also like the Harvest tee by, I think it's by Ozetta. And then there's a tee number one, I think. There's My Favorite Things Knitwear t-shirt that I also really like. And then I saw someone who knit the Poppy tee by Petite Knit, and they were like a plus size knitter, and it looked really good, and so that's also kind of on my mind. Again, haven't fully fleshed this out. I have the Farnham tee pattern is the reason I have like put the Farnham tee on there, and I like the idea of a striped t-shirt. I think it'd be really cute, but I haven't fully decided that yet. But a summer knit, I think I would get a lot of wear out of, as for all these other things that I've mentioned. But that's something that, I don't know, like I've seen a lot, and every time I see someone making or finishing something like that, I'm like, I would wear that. Like I would love to wear that, and I'd love to try and knit that as well. So the next piece I have is a quarter zip pullover. So my reference photo is the Dagmar pullover by Petite Knit, which is a cabled pullover, and it's like I'm warming up to it. I like the idea of a cable. Like I have a quarter zip that I love, and I wear all the time, so I would also love to knit one. So I haven't fully figured out like what that might look like. I also have a few Henley patterns that I think could also be subbed out into this, but I like the idea of like some sort of like drop shoulder split something. I really like the Dagmar pullover because of the cables, but I don't think I like honeycomb cables, and there's a lot of that on this. Like I'm warming up to it, but I think I would probably just replace it with like, I don't know, just like moss stitch or something simple, and just have like the 2 cable columns. I don't know, I'm still kind of like toying with the idea of it. Again, this might, if I do end up making the book club cardigan, I think is like the thing that I really want to make, or at least get started on this year. And so, and that's an all over cabled project. So if I have a second one that's gonna be all over cabled, that would probably have to wait till after the book club cardigan is done. And so that might even be like a 2026 thing. So I might not even get started on that for a while. So I have time, but I do want, this is something that's like, I know I wear it, like based off of just like the data of like what I wear every day. I know I'd wear it. I know I would enjoy it. And it's something different that I've never knit before, like a style wise. The next 3 are kind of like a conglomeration of, a goal is to knit patterns for everyone in my family, or to knit sweaters for everyone in my family, for my entire little family we have at the moment. And so that includes like my son, my husband, and my dog. And so those are the next 3 patterns I've referenced. So I've knit my son a sweater for the last couple of years. Like I knit him a little cardigan, which I actually have right here in, this is about to go into storage, but this is just a little raglan cardigan. Oh my gosh, he's not this small anymore. This is actually on his stuffed animal. So yeah, he is no longer this tiny, but he once upon a time was. I love it. This was such a fun knit. And then I've knit him I don't remember what it's called, but another pattern by the Knit Pro Girl. Was delightful. Another little raglan. But I want to make him, I have a couple options in my library of like what I could make him. And I might wait until closer to this last one I made for his birthday. So I might wait till closer to his birthday. He'll be turning 2 in next December, which is just like crazy, but he might have more opinions by then and like can actually pick out colors and stuff. So I might just wait until closer to the end of the year before I start that. But yeah, I love it. And then I want to knit a sweater for my dog. She just turned 4. I could cry. I love her so much. She just turned 4 in December. Or around this time. She's just like crossed over into she's a 4-year-old now. And I've never knit her anything. I've like made her a few toys and stuff. I've never like really made her something. And so I would love to make her a dog sweater. I have been researching a few patterns, looking at a couple things, haven't like nailed down anything specific yet, but we'll get there. So yes, Pippin will get that. And unlike my my child, you will see pictures of my dog wearing whatever I make her. So I try not to show photos of my son on my public facing account, but you will see pictures of my dog because I have no problem exploiting how cute my dog is. And I love her. She's wonderful, and so she's very knit worthy. She deserves a sweater. So and then for my husband, he's never been like a huge knit guy, but we've been watching All Creatures Great and Small. 10 out of 10 recommend. Great show. And Siegfried, one of the vets on there, he had like the knits on that show alone are so good, but specifically he had this like half fisherman's rib cardigan. It looks so good. Oh my gosh, I want it. And my husband goes, oh, I'd wear something like that. And I was like, okay. Like again, like cardigans are just really functional, on and off, very easy. Because he has a sweater that he bought he doesn't really wear a whole ton. He's more of like either a flannel or like a sweatshirt kind of guy, which is totally fine. But I think I think a cardigan would be something that's a little bit easier. You know, you could throw it on over a t-shirt if you're cold. It's less, you know, it keeps you warm. You don't have to wear a blanket, all that stuff. So I'm still searching for a pattern for that, but that's like the fact that he was open to wanting something knit was just really exciting. So I mean, I'm gonna try and get through these last few pretty quickly. There's this, I should have looked up this granny square like quilt motif. I've seen it on Pinterest a million times and I love it. I want to make one square and then put it on like make it into a little tapestry to hang in my office. I think will look darling. I don't know what colors yet. I don't know what yarn. That might be like a summer project when I'm not super into like sweaters, like wool sweaters at the moment. Yeah, so I'm just really excited to make this. And I realized, I thought it was like you could buy the physical piece, but I realized it's a pattern. And so I'm going to probably do a little more digging and find that and then purchase it and make it. And I just love the look of it, and I haven't crocheted in a while, so I would really love to have another crochet project. You know, it's just kind of, this is one of those like, no, it's lived rent free in my mind for years now, and so I would really love to have it. Next is the pattern I'm referencing is the brioche rib hat by Originally Lovely, and it's a 2-color brioche hat. And I again have had this in my library for a while, have had this on my docket to make and to learn how to do 2-color brioche. I have ordered the yarn. It's not here yet, but it's the Knit Picks Nipix Tweed base. I don't remember what the base is called, but it's their DK Tweed yarn to make this in. I'm very excited to learn. And I think it's a great hat. I'm still gonna make it in a kind of a pinky color, but I'm sure you'll see it in the next podcast. Once it gets here, I'm excited to cast this on and to learn 2-color brioche. This feels like a skill extender. Again, something I have seen and just been like, I really want to do that. I think I had this as a goal in 2023 and just like completely missed it. But I'm excited to get back to it and do it. So there's that. And then finally, I would love to make some sort of granny square garment. Again, in my reference photo, I have the Agnes vest by Bethany Lynn Makes. What's her name? Young Fulton Knits was a tester for this pattern, for the extending the size range, and it's just so neat. And I have some worsted weight yarn in my stash that I think I could, and it's kind of one of those, like, I have like 1 or 2 skeins of things. I think I could put them all together and make a granny square garment of some sort. And yeah, I think it'd be lovely. Again, I just haven't crocheted in a while, and it's another craft that I just really enjoy and kind of miss. So okay, that's my make 9. If you are also making any of those, please let me know, comment below. I would love to talk more about them. I hope you enjoyed this long and drawn out and rambly podcast and just updating you on where I'm at in 2025. It's been very exciting. So anyways, I hope you enjoy. I can be found on Instagram at darbylouise.makes, and I'm on Ravelry at darbylouise. Please friend me on there. Another goal I have is to kind of document more stuff on Ravelry. I haven't done a fantastic job of it, but I will probably sit down at some point today and like take a few more pictures and document some things. So all that to be said, yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.